Yeah, the women's plan 2017 to 2025 has been a really important part of our work over the last number of years. I think really successful in terms of putting the groundwork in place to date for what we know is the biggest growth area for rugby globally. We've implemented a new strategic plan overall for World Rugby, and so refreshing and kind of assessing where we are at the halfway point of an 8-year plan in the women's game is really important. And again, because we know this is the driver of growth for us for the game globally. So, the next 4 years, with what we've achieved is the opportunity to really accelerate. And some really important parts of that, we've announced WXV, this annual global competition for women's rugby. We know that can be a real driver of growth, but we've got to invest in the competitive depth of the women's game to get there. So really important that we're thinking about the investment profile for the women's game right now. Some commercial success, some partnerships that are going to really feed into that. So great commercial success that we're now going to build on, and really important moments around player welfare. And again, around the 6-point plan that we've announced for the advancement of player welfare. When we play that into the women's game, we know we've got to do more specifically in the women's game around player welfare. That's a big part as well of the second half of this plan. I think success at 2025 looks like more competitive depth in the tournament. So again, moving from 12 to 16 teams, let's make sure we've got 16 teams, playing that tournament that are going to play great competitive rugby. That's the kind of foundation block of any great tournament. Certainly see great fan engagement around the country for the women's game, and again allow us to build around that so that beyond 2025 we're continuing to develop the competitions, the performance pathways, and most importantly the ground, the grassroots and the ground level that we need around the women's game, everything from volunteers to match officials to players. The ultimate objective here, right now all the way through to all we're doing is to build proper equality and gender equity for men's and women's rugby on and off the field, in terms of the leadership we can show, bringing women's representation through everything we do in the sport, and obviously on the field making sure that the product and the game in the women's area is as strong as it can be. So no, it's a really, really important part of what we do.